Hello friends, back again with the quilt book. Now I found my stitch wheel and I have been loving going through some of my old tubs of things and finding stuff I made that I didn't quite know what I was going to do with. So I have been, this is the front cover. I don't know if I shared that I'd blanket stitched around the edge and you knew that I'd put this here, but my stitch wheel, now let me show you. I'm just about to finish stitching it down. I'm yet to work out how to write down all of the stitches, because a bit of paper sort of doesn't, it doesn't have any place to be in here. So I'm just going to show you what I've been doing with the edge. So it was on a material that was a bit bigger because I had to fit it into a hoop. And what I've done is cut it down to almost, it's like maybe 1.5 centimeters. Then I have cut little notches all the way around on each of these points. And so I'm stitching down and tucking in, so it's like it's appliqued. I'm just doing a little whip stitch all the way around. And just about, of course, to finish it. I hope everyone's well. We are recovered at the house from the dreaded COVID and getting back on our feet. And getting back into some projects. I've been having a lovely little sit and stitch, just kind of playful improvisational stitches on bits of blanket and material, and they've sort of ended up becoming things like little needle books and stuff like that. So that's been quite fun. I'll probably do a show and tell at some point. Now when I get this stitched down, I'll do a little play through where I'm up to. I've added 1 or 2 little bits and pieces. I like that I found this and thought to put it in. It's a good little reference for looking up stitches and just, seeing something that I might go, oh, that's right, that's that stitch. I might use that. Just cast that off. Tuck it in. Get a snippety doodah. Okay, so let me show you. So this is the inside front cover. Like I say, there's no real reason to have a piece of paper, but I do feel like I'd like to have some sort of reference. So I'm thinking, now that I'm putting my mind on it, what if I had a bit of material joined here that is like the flap that holds our pages in, and I have another stitch wheel but just with the words. I'll just have to make sure that I get them in the right spot. So here's the bullions, so that's going to be there like that. So it's just a bit of material that's got the words on, so I can go, oh, Cretan stitch, what does that look like? Okay, that's that one there. It could be good to have the words or stamped or embroidered on it, Yes, I think that's a good idea. That way I can really reference. I mean, I'll know some of them without having to go and look them up. But, you know, there's always new stitches that we don't have in our regular arsenal that would be good to revisit later. That's beautiful. I love that. That's just gorgeous. Okay, so let's have a look. And I think that the order of these is this colour to the purple to that colour. This is the order. I have yet to do my little circles for the centre of the sun. Now I've got in here, I've got the little papers for this. So I've still got to do a few of those. I've got one of the little hearts that I made as part of the Ort material that I made. I've got a bit of material I've been thread painting, and I've been working out how far I want to go with this, because to thread pan out to here, that's a very close crop. I've thread painted through here, and I'm just wondering if I might do the leaves that are closest and then trim around that. But there is some beautiful flowers, like that bit's still fine. Just these ones are very close. I do like that though. See those geraniums and the leaves. So maybe I'll do a bit more of that. So this is one of my little pockets of things. Got some of my favourite bits and pieces added in here with memories. Nothing in there so far. I've got my doilies on my, they say snowflakes are daggers, and I recently heard another snowflake bit of poetry, and I'm thinking I should have written that down. I'll have to go back and find it, and I might make another one. Cute. So cute, the little tree with the little flowers, and nothing in here. So I've finished that. Now I definitely want to think also about putting the pages in. I think probably that might be the last thing I do. And maybe the next thing is to look at working on this. A couple of pages to flip over to hold if I've got this like this. With a couple of things in. And haven't made it yet, but my little house. And if I have something that folds over and folds over, that is a good way to use a favourite doily as well. I've got some other bits of paper piecing, and I'm wondering if I might end up, let me see if I can find that, what I'm thinking about. So, do you remember this little one I was making? I imagine I could put my paper pieces in here, have it zipped up, stitch it along here, and that'll work as my piece to seal in anything that's in the pages. One more bit of material here, so I need to find a doily for here which fits. This is a perfect fit for here, and I need to find a bit of material that'll flap over here that I can write all of the names of the stitches on as a reference. Okay, so I'm going to go and finish stitching these on. I'm going to look out a bit of material for there and get my stitch wheel onto it. And I've got to find a nice doily. I did actually find one recently for the Roxy's that's a bit big for my piece, so I think that might be the perfect one, and it's really lovely. Okay, so I will be back. Okay, I'll show you where I'm up to. I have attached this. I found a beautiful bit of doily, just gorgeous, gorgeous embroidery on it. Now I'm working on the part that's going to come over and go over this with all the names of all the stitches. Now the part I'm working on now is the part that comes over here, this flip over. I have ironed a bit of linen. I've actually, it's crumpled now because I've been working on it, but I've used a heat sensitive pen, and I have gone over my whole thing. I've traced it all out so I can lift it up and see what stitch is there. I think I don't think I'll stitch on the words. I think I'll stamp them, because this is actually a time-consuming thing. I'm doing chain stitch, and it's what I'm noticing is that it's shrunk in a little bit, so it's actually now a bit smaller than when I originally did the design. It's okay, it's still going to be on top of each of the stitches, so I can have a look just for those ones that I don't use often, or just for some inspiration, because there's a couple of interesting ones that I think would be great to use again. So I'll just iron off the heat sensitive bits and pieces from the pen once I'm ready to stamp, and then I'll probably iron again once it's stamped so that it sets the ink as well. Yeah, so it's a little fiddly in terms of every time you're coming around you've got to go and get all these little sidelines. It's not just a straightforward stitch. But I'm okay with that. It's fun. I'm enjoying it. And I'm really going to enjoy having, getting rid of the paper that's got all the names on, because it's just sort of doesn't make sense. Have a bit of crinkly old bit of paper just floating around. But this will make sense. Well, it will to me anyway. I'm loving this book. I really am finding already that it's such a great resource to have in our kit. Projects sort of that are on the go, but they're just the sort of the pick up once every so often projects are fabulous in it. Any little bits and pieces I'm working on for different things. Now always, as I go round, this looks a lot thinner than that. It's quite thick. I might actually redo that. I'll just have to bear in mind I'll come in a little bit thinner so as it's a bit more, makes more sense. But I'll just get through around this little bit, and I'll go off and do that and come back ready to stamp the words on. There's a couple that look like they're out of order, and I think my series on the stitch wheel, gosh, 3 years ago maybe, I don't know, it'll be back in the old videos. 5 years worth of lots of videos, lots of stories. I'm going to have to go back and just have a look where I went out of order. I think I just maybe made one mistake once in a different box, and then I had to juggle them all around. So I'll just have to make sure I get the right words for the right spots. There we go. And I am going to go and finish getting around, go and give it another iron. I did put a crease here, ready to be put right where it's needed. So when this is finished and ironed out and stamped, it'll be just another thing that I can put over those woolen pages in the middle. How good is it though? Great. I'm glad I found that and put that in. Love that. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I have made quite a bit of progress with this. I'd finished the stitching and I've started stamping all the words. Bit of a mistake here. Had to make sure a lot of the spelling was right on some of the stitches. And so I've got 2 left to do. So I've been using the Stays On Midnight Blue. Once I've ironed it, it's going to be fairly set. Bird and Stitch. I haven't bothered writing the name Stitch after everything. There was only one here I said Raise Seed Band because it's a bit more of a band. See, it's like this. Really effective. Love it. One more. It's taken quite a while, I must say, because with all these little things you've got to go through and find every one to make up the word that you want. So what have I got left? Velvet. So I need the E from that. So I really love this set. I've had this set for a really long time. I got it off eBay. And as far as I know, I have never been able to find it, because sometimes, you know, like if you've got a buttonhole and you've got the double T and you've got 2 O's, I really wish back in the day I had bought 2 sets to help with that sort of a thing. But it's fun. I do believe you can now get a set of stamps, but they're like twice the size and they're very expensive. But I've got an E, there's a T, Velvet, E-T. So I'll just show you what happens. So I've got 2 E's, so I'll go V-E-L and 2 V's. I just need the L. And because they're a certain shape and size in your hand, they're not too hard to get in a straight line. Let me put them over here as I've gone through them. V-E-L I'm looking for. There it is. So V-E-L, and then I'll need V-E-T. So what I mean by saying that they're easy to hold in your hand and to get the words in a line. So I need V-E-T, velvet, like that. So it doesn't matter that they're a little bit wibbly wobbly, but that means I've done every, oh, that's not finished. So that one is, I've got my Portuguese. Oh, detached buttonhole. So I still need the word detached for there. D-E-T. All right. No X. No. D. E-T. D-E-T. A. Process of elimination. I need an A. Finding it. There it is. D-E-T-A. Detach. And I need another E-D for the end. Detached buttonhole. Detached buttonhole. Now, okay, now it's finished, I'm pretty sure. not super easy to read. Some of them where a word like couching kind of, it doesn't flow as two separate words joined together. However, it's enough for me. I'll know, like down here, the word couching was long, so hard to get in, and then battlement couching was, you know, a lot to get into the smaller squares. Oh, I've not done, this was double up and down blanket. I need still to do blanket. I've got blanket, and I've got blanket, and I didn't do it here. Right. This is what I mean. I thought, oh, I'll just show you the last one or two, but this just goes to show how fiddly it can be, even though I was having fun. There's an L, there's a K. They slot in like this into this. K, blanket. And that's a way you can know whether they're up the right way or not, because if you had it upside down, it won't slot in. Very ingenious. I really seriously wish I could find some more of these. Right, double up and down blanket. Now I think I've finished. Let me check. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Chain, detach buttonhole comes across. So while I was revisiting it, the raised cup stitch was something I love. I love the velvet stitch. It's a little bit like, you know, we've got the turkey rug work, but the velvet stitch is similar but shorter, so longer, shorter. And what else did I love? There was a couple. Like the woven picots are always fun, and the Jacobean couching, especially on a heart or something, is beautiful. Laid work, beautiful. So many things to, you know, to revisit and look at and go, oh, I wouldn't mind making that stitch. So now I've got that done and this done, and now I can stitch this on down here. Lazy daisy chain, make sure it's in the right spot. I'm going to go and stitch it. I have started a couple more things on the inner woolen pages, and I will be doing the binding next, and I'll be showing you what I have decided to give a go for the binding. So I'm going to give this an iron to set it and stitch this down, and then we've got our little flaps to hold everything in, and I'll grab all my bits for the binding. Okay, so I have stitched this in. I've been adding little bits of colour, little pops of colour here, like this green. And so now I can look under and see what stitch I might like to do from my selection, or what I might like to focus on if I haven't done that particular stitch for a while. So there's that. Here's our beautiful bit of doily. Love it. And my little zippered pouch. This has got in it those bits of paper pieces, but also I have put in a whole heap of different hexies of different sizes that I've made. Want to use them for a bag. I can stay in there. I might find a more water tight kind of bag, like a glassine bag or something like that. This is a beautiful bit of smocking I found at an op shop, but I've also made that's a pocket as well, so something can go in there if I want to later. So the finished book, now I wanted to test out a particular way of putting my pages in, which I haven't done before, but I will put the link below. Corrine has been featuring these little bags with the tear out Velcro pieces, and I thought, rather than just stitching it in, which I've done before, and I know I have never done it like a Velcro kind of tear out. So I've got a large bit of Velcro, a long, roughly it was about 3 centimeters maybe, and I have cut the attaching part into 3 pieces. So I've got them all in here, and if I want to take one out in particular, I can just pull it out. And I think it's working. I wasn't sure it was going to work, so I didn't talk about it before I did it. But then I've got my little page I can take away and work separately outside of the book. Or I can just keep them all in here. And I think it works really well. I'm happy with that. So surprise binding that I wasn't planning until I got sort of near the end and thought, oh, okay, that works for me. So I have now blanket stitched all around anywhere that there wasn't blanket stitch, and I've used different colours. Oh, I've still got to do my little circle on the sun, so I'll do that when I get to my next episode of my laptop bag by the Cecile Franconi pattern. So here it is, many memories, and 3 pull-out pages. So I could take the whole lot out and have different projects I'm working on my table, and some extra bits. I kind of like this as a travel book because having a couple of the bits of paper piecings in there, I can bring them out and make something. So very good for a bit of a small project thing. I was actually also thinking that I'm going to need, when I was stitching these on, I needed my little pliers, and I've got a couple of sets of pliers, but there's one that works really well, and I'm thinking I might somehow, maybe they'll go in here, but just to keep it, you know, together, all of it together. So thank you so much to Sue and Bec for this wonderful project. Even if I went a bit off task with the spine, I do think it's made it like quite a bit more of a book by giving it that sort of spine, and it will all hold together. And the back, I still think I can probably put something on the back, but I'm going to consider that this project is now, from a video perspective, finished. Oh, I just love it. It's gorgeous. I love the fact that there are so many memories. This beautiful bit from Karen, this from Rachel or Sarah, one or the other. This beautiful French wine bag that I've embroidered over, and all these little bits and pieces that remind me of someone or something. And this from Kate, this was from Rachel. It's just gorgeous. And this was Karen's mum's tablecloth. This doily that I've used at the back was from my new favourite op shop. So yeah, that was from Kate, I think. This beautiful, this was from Rachel and Sarah. Antique Suffolk puffs. My lovely little bits of play embroidery that I didn't know what to do with. I love this. This is gorgeous. Bit of unfinished work from Sewing Basket. Just lovely. lovely things. I think this was from Susanna. This was from the lady who gave me, my sister, a whole heap of stuff that ended up in my stash as well as hers. This beautiful antique, that was from Rachel and Sarah. And this bit of beautiful stitching that I made a couple of years ago, and now can put it somewhere where I can use it, which I didn't like the fact that it was just sitting there in my tub and not being used. But now ready to go. Oh, what a great project. So once again, thanks Sue and Bec, and that's it for me for this one. And I really thank you for all being here, and new subscribers, hello. And I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.